Well, hello and welcome to episode number 492 of the Plane Talking UK podcast. I'm Carlos, and in this week's show, one American airline is really spoiling its connecting passengers, a low-cost carrier is moaning about the lack of Maxes, and could flying be as easy as a joystick and two screens? In the military this week, it's UAV time, and could the RAF be seeking out a Hawk trainer replacement? Plus, we have this week's Caption This just for fun, and also we take a brief look at just what the PTUK team are up to this coming weekend.
Not a clue.
So, joining me this week across the village here in the glorious countryside of Suffolk is, of course, Matt Smith.
There is a town council who will be furious that you're referring to Bungay as a village, by the way, just saying.
No, I don't care.
Oh, fair enough, yeah. Fair enough, as long as you're happy.
Well, I'm a law unto myself.
Yeah, amen to that. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So Matt, well, I haven't seen you for at least, what,
about 4 hours, is it? Something? No, it's slightly longer than that.
Hours?
Yeah, about 7 hours, actually. It was about, 6 hours, yeah. Yes, yeah. And much changed between now and then? I mean, I came and stole a suitcase from you.
He did, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just remembered, actually, before I finished work today, I remembered to put my out of thingy email.
Oh, on your emails? Oh, very good, yeah.
I thought I better be professional. Now now I've got this new job. I need to keep professional.
I also have a similar position and forgot to do exactly that. So, God help anyone who should email me. They're not getting anything.
Yeah. So, joining us this week as well are another production member of the show. Does a lot of work behind the scenes when we're all busy, doing things outside of PTUK land. It is, of course, Nick Codling. Hello, Nick.
Carlos? Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm busy when I probably should be doing my real job, but sometimes the PTUK stuff has to take precedence.
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
Sometimes rather more interesting.
Oh dear.
So obviously slightly different to aviation. How are things in the world of two-wheeled motorcycles?
Oh, just bought another motorbike.
What?
But no one listens to this, right?
No, nobody at all.
Move on.
Sorry, forgive me. Forgive my nosiness here. It's none of my business at all. Nick, first question.
Melody.
I can say. First question. What have you bought? Is it a little 50cc pop?
It's a 1000cc Ducati.
Oh my goodness me!
Doesn't really work though, so we won't go into that.
Oh right. Oh okay. All right. I was going to say somebody's put their big boy pants on, haven't they? Blimey.
Yeah, needs some work, but it was. Yeah,
but is that why you bought it? Because you've got a stunning machine that requires a bit of
project.
Work. And forgive my nosiness here, but. Why does it really matter if you've bought it? You don't have to report to anyone else, do you?
No.
God, can you imagine if I did that with an aircraft?
Oh my goodness me! Yeah, you
The
are.
garage
You're just
is
doing
getting
it.
a bit full.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
No, fair enough.
So is this going to be a garage thing, Nick? You're going to have it on a stand in the garage? And
No, he's going to mend it and ride it. Of course he is.
Eventually. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have a Ducati 1000cc just sitting around gathering rust and dust. What's the matter with you?
No, I don't. Whether that'll happen, Nick.
Just because you're collecting airplane parts to build your own airplane over many years.
Oh, I'm doing that as well.
Oh, for goodness sake!
Nick's got the bug. He's doing it as well. So we haven't got a Nev this week. Unfortunately, Nev, he's had a slightly busy week. Poor Nev, he's literally been flying. He was on his way back from Edinburgh yesterday on a glorious 3-month-old A321 Neo. Yes, with BA. So Nev's not with us this week, and Armando, unfortunately, is not with us this week, but he has sent us in a little video. We're going to play it later on the show. But don't panic, because holding up the whole technical side of the show in regards to aviation, we've got back another super sub on the show. So welcome back, John Jester.
Hey everybody! Surprisingly at home in the Netherlands.
What?
So yeah, yeah, weird, huh?
You're almost in the same time zone as us, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, only an hour ahead.
Only an hour in it for a change. Yeah.
Hey, I've actually had 3 nights of 8 hour plus sleep.
What? Oh no! That's just no. That John is not good for you.
No. Ironically, my fancy watch told me that my 8 hours plus the sleep last night was only good for 50%. So I don't know what's wrong there.
Oh dear.
But
Oh dear.
who knows? But glad to help out and pitch in and not middle of the night. So lot better this time. So no Kenichiwas this time.
No. More's the pity.
Kuyavan Damashka and Ondas from the lowlands. So
Exactly what I thought.
Bless you.
Well,
yeah. Gesundheit, sir.
Well, give our thanks as well to the boss, John, for letting you come on tonight as well.
Will do. And yes, Captain Cruz, Independence Air. I was a proud member of that group. Long, may she rest in peace. But yes, that is what I got. So,
see,
everybody's wondering what I got on here. So
that's pretty eagle-eyed, isn't it?
That's impressive. Yeah, impressive. So, on that note, we better say hello to the chat room this week. Everyone who's joined us in there. Let's go from the top of the list. We've got Hobby Time in there. Mazoos is in there. Our local listener. We have got Neville Bounds is in there. Don't know what he's doing in there. David
Checking we started on time, I suspect.
David Michaels also in there over in Australia. He is, blimey. Off to the gym he is as well. Captain Cruz, Richard Adams as well. Just a passing visit from him this week. He's got an urgent pub visit apparently.
Very important.
Richard.
Yeah, one must prioritise these things. Yes.
Hello to Tanya. Good to see you in there, Tanya. Lovely to see you in there. Dirk S. Hello to you, Dirk. Great to see you as well. Masha. Hello, Masha. Hope you're well. We have got Jan is in there as well. Good to see you, Jan, in there. Bill. He's dropped in as well this week. Good to see you, Bill. And Captain Ridiculous Wits. It wouldn't be a chat room without Captain Ridiculous Wits in the chat room as well, joining us. And don't forget, if you're listening to our glorious voices on an audio podcast and you want to see just how stunning Nick
Don't do
with
it.
his haircut, then take yourselves over to YouTube and search for Plain Talking UK. And don't forget to hit the subscribe. Well, not literally hit, but click on it. The subscribe and bell icon, unless you've got a touch screen, of course, which is right next to it to be notified when we're live and recording new episodes like we are now. So we've got loads of stuff to get through this week, including our caption this. So if all the team's ready,
Let's do this.
let's do it.
go for it.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt light. Please take your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
Well, that's gone again.
That's because it's finished. What's the matter?
I couldn't hear anything. I had no audio then at all from you from the desk.
But you could just watch the video.
Kicking off this week's first news story from simpleflying.com. And sad news if you're the fan of the 767, especially the freighter version. Flown on the 76 quite a few times. Love the aircraft. With the Federal Aviation Administration, or the FAA, adopting its proposed fuel efficiency rules for certain subsonic jet aircraft with a maximum takeoff weight of more than 5,700 kilograms, this could spell the end for the production of the 767 freighter. The new standards will also apply to propeller-driven aircraft with a maximum takeoff weight greater than 8,618 kilograms. And the FAA's final rule, was published on February the 16th. With an effective date of April the 16th. According to the directive, the new fuel efficiency standards would apply to aircraft that received their original type certification on or after January the 1st, 2021, were manufactured after January the 1st, 2028, or were certified before 2021, but a modification was made that would affect the aircraft's emissions after January the 1st, 2023. June the 15th, 2022, the regulator published a notice of proposed rulemaking receiving 62 comments on a proposal from various parties, including Airbus, Boeing, ATR, Embraer, Gulfstream, General Electric, as well as airline representatives. Providing backgrounds on the ruling, the FAA said the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, and its International Aviation Climate Change, or GIACC, developed a program to reduce aviation impact on the climate in 2009. The Committee on Aviation Environmental Protection, or CAEP, part of the ICAO, agreed the new emission standard in February 2016, with ICAO adopting the standard in March 2017. In the United States, the Clean Air Act directs the EPA to adopt standards applicable to the emissions of any air pollutant from class of aircraft engines in which the EPA, or administrator's judgment, cause or contributes to air pollution which may reasonably be anticipated to endanger public health or welfare. Now, the story does go on, but could this spell the end of the 767 freighter? Well, probably, but we have got the 777 freighters, which are obviously very popular, and I think they'll be in the air for quite some time to come. But I think the 767 freighter, there's a note here that I've put on here last night, January 1993, following an order from UPS, Boeing launched the freighter variant of the 767, which was the -300F, entered service with UPS on October the 16th, 1995. The 767-300 featured a main deck cargo hold, upgraded landing gear, and strengthened wing structure. John, have you flown this little beaut?
No, not enough engines.
I knew there'd be an issue.
No, so okay, yeah. No, I've been on the airplane. It's actually a very popular aircraft in the freight industry. It fits a really nice niche of having enough volume to make it worthwhile, especially in the small package market like UPS and FedEx operate in. And it suffers a little bit in range when it's carrying heavier weights, which is kind of operations that we oftentimes fly. But we do have a number of these aircraft in operation that we use for both DHL and for the military, as well as our operations. With Acme Global, and it's been a really long serving airplane, and I think you're going to see it lasting even further along. It's kind of in that right size. It's not too big. The 777 suffers from wingspan issues oftentimes on the ramp. The freighter version is a 200 fuselage with a 300 wing, and it takes up a lot of width. Same as the 747s, we take up a lot of width on the ramp, so that's why a lot of people like this 76. And it operates pretty well. It's easy to service with basic equipment, and I think, yeah, there's still a possibility that you might see a re-engine version of this. I can't see why they couldn't sling a Gen X motor underneath this thing, because it's not much different fan size than what's already currently on there, the CF6. And if you look at a 7478, we are carrying CF6s, and my company will actually have the engines come off the 76, go to the 74. It's the same size, as what's on the Dash 8 is the Gen X motor, and we sit the same height. It's not like it's any different. So, it's possible you see it, but maybe Boeing will finally get off its backside and then pull the trigger on making a freighter version of the 787, but doing a carbon fiber fuselage with a big door. It's not a known area, so that's going to take some legit engineering, which they used to know how to do. We'll leave it at that. So
yeah, we won't say anything about doors.
No.
Anyway,
a touchy subject.
Matt, you've got story 2, and this is a hell of a way to catch a transfer at an airport.
Excuse me. Sorry. Yes, it's going to be an interesting one, I think. It's the drive.com is the website for this one, and the headline is Delta is using a Porsche 911 GT3 RS shuttle for tight connections at LAX. Wow. Short layovers suck, and having to run through an airport full of people sucks even more. I think airlines should totally shuttle passengers from one plane to another in bright red supercars. That would be way more efficient. Wait! Delta is doing what? Oh. Passengers flying through LAX this week may get exactly that. The airline is employing a Porsche GT3 RS to shuttle passengers with tight connections from one plane to another, helping them avoid the chaos of crowded terminals and hopefully getting them to their destinations on time. I mean, I don't think you can fit a whole plane's worth of people into said vehicle, but anyway, I'm sure more will become apparent in a moment. Imagine that. Your plane pulls up at the gate. You're wondering if you're going to make your next flight when suddenly you hear your GT3 RS awaits you, sir or madam. Sweet. This cool program is the result of Delta's long-time partnership with Porsche and is certainly not the first time that the two have teamed up to put some cool sheet metal on the tarmac. Last summer, a Porsche 918 was used to shuttle elite passengers through Atlanta's Hartsfield's airport, HQ for both Delta and Porsche, and the airline regularly uses its fleet of Cananes and Pameras for the same purpose. Perhaps this is Delta's secret weapon to remain the most on-time airline in North America. Of course, it's safe to say that the Porsche of choice is mostly for marketing purposes, you think. A GT3 RS... I'm sorry, I'm going to have to stop reading this story because it's giving me hives with this third-person language. I'm really sorry. But you get the gist. A very, very cool car is potential. I presume this is for a certain class of passenger. I don't think it's available to like you or me. No.
Oh, what seat you in, sir? Oh, I'm in row.
Yeah, I'm in 209J. Yes. Yeah. No. Okay. Not.
Yeah,
not
I think
somewhere above diamond level. I think you're going to be
right.
possibly getting
possibly a chance. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I'm afraid
it's a good idea, and it's a blinking good PR thing for Delta, that's for sure.
I mean,
this is a car that comes with race seats and a strap for the door handle.
Yeah, and no rear seat.
I'm just trying to figure out where they're going to put the cases on there, but I don't know.
Well, there'll probably be a little tug, running along behind, trying to sort of.
Can we just have a little chat about the airside speed limits at LAX, please?
Oh, really?
What are the airside speed limits at LAX, Nick?
So, on the whole, they are 20 miles an hour for all vehicle roadways.
Oh dear.
10 miles an hour for service roads, 10 miles an hour on ramp and apron areas, or 3 miles an hour or walking speed on ramp apron areas inside aircraft limit line.
Yeah, but is there going to be a Gatso gun, with that sort of thing on the side of that? I mean, is there going to be somebody stood there with one of those hairdryer things, busy measuring the speed of the Porsche? Probably not. They're probably all going to do what we'd all do if we were airside and saw this thing go, is literally cheering it on to open it right up. Now, let's be honest.
Give it some, mister.
Give it some beans.
Am I the only one who'd be on Flight Radar 24, seeing if I could see it on
Yes. Yeah. What, the Porsche or the
Porsche? Yeah.
That's a good point, actually, because they do have some of the ground vehicles are on there, aren't they?
I expect for John, this is like a crew car for John.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
All the time.
Yeah,
usually me, if I'm lucky, we get a Mercedes van instead of the Ford van. And my knees at least fit.
What a treat. What spoiling.
Yeah, just kind of a joke. And you're talking about the speed limit thing. When I was working on the ramp, I'm driving a tug that's probably 10 years my senior, going down the roadway behind the airplanes. And I got pulled over by airport operations saying I was speeding. And I go, okay, how am I supposed to know that? I have no speed limit. I don't even have a rev counter. I go by noise, and then I shift gears. And he's, well, by the wind. I'm like, I'm going into 30-mile-an-hour wind. What do you want me to do? Well, I could fine you and ticket you. And I'm like, Yeah, so there are those people, though, that work at airport operations that will do a radar gun on you to give you a speeding ticket. So.
Love that. Who are they going to send it to? Delta? I mean,
Oh, they were saying it was going to go on my driver's license. I was like, there's no way that I'd ever stand. But yeah, it's just
good luck
kind of
with
people
that.
like that.
On the subject of speed, John, just as a matter of interest, what is the maximum taxi speed that you do in the 747?
We actually get limited some places by the airport. They'll want us to do somewhere under 20 knots, between 10 and 20 knots. So say 12 to 25 miles an hour. We'll generally not taxi much more than about 20 knots on a long straight taxiway. That's really because you don't put too much heat in the tires. We're rough on tires, being as heavy as we usually are. I mean, all of our operating weights, we're on dash 8, we can be, over 400 tons on takeoff and 346 when we land on the heaviest ones, tons. So it's a lot of energy. It's being put into those tires. They don't last that long if we taxi around like crazy.
If you're caught speeding, they'd find you. Would they know if you're speeding?
Oh yeah. Nowadays, ADSB will just rat us out.
Yeah.
It's coming off multiple times a second our ground speed. So yeah, I track my airplane where it goes to the airport on Flight Radar 24. So I have an idea like where it's parking when I go to Anchorage, something like that. So I have an idea if it's there and where it parked. So yeah, it's easy.
Now, John, you have got the next story and something I don't think you'd want to find in one of your engines.
Oh yeah, this is painful to read. Well, one, it's an Airbus, but okay. Qantas Airbus 380 engine found with 2-month missing tool inside at LAX. The Australian Transportation Safety Board has launched an investigation after a tool was found inside a Qantas Airbus A380 engine. According to the ATSB, the compressor turning tool was discovered behind the fan blades of the number 1 engine on the Airbus 380-842 at Los Angeles International Airport on February 2nd, 2024. Mechanics at LAX were carrying out a maintenance inspection on the A380 when a foreign object debris was found. An investigation report drafted and published by the ATSB website, investigators said that the tool in question was first reported lost on December 6, 2023. Oh, geez. The ATSB indicated that it expected to release a final report sometime after July 1, 2024, following completion of the investigation. Should a critical safety issue be identified during the investigation, the ATSB will immediately notify relevant parties so that appropriate safety actions can be taken. The ATSB said, according to the website, paddle your own canoe. Wow. Qantas told the publication that it was taking the incident extremely seriously. The Australian flag carrier said it had notified the ATSB when a tool was found. The tool is a piece of flexible plastic. It had no effect on the operation of the engine. The airline told PYOK the Airbus A380 registered Victor Hotel Oscar, Quebec, India, was delivered to Qantas on January 13, 2011, and can carry 485 passengers. Okay, so I used to be a maintenance quality assurance auditor, and this just gets my goat that they would have a part missing and not know where that part had been used, that tool had been used. When we had parts checked out from our tool locker, it was checked out to an individual, to an aircraft that they were working on. And you didn't not turn it back in without it being relocated. And if it didn't get relocated, immediately that airplane was quarantined. I mean, how do you not, especially for something that's back in the compressor, and they can say, yeah, it's not going to really hurt it. Yeah, it may not hurt the engine entirely, but they still can mess some things up, disrupt airflow. I mean, I could think of a number of things that probably could happen. Wow, just to think that this was allowed to go for that long before it was found is amazing.
John,
Painful.
Is there any scope for a technician to have maybe been using their own tools or something like that? Or would there ever be a situation where you think, oh, well, I'll just grab something from my own toolbox because it's this job and I know I can do it with this thing and and it'll be very quick and
something like this is a specialized tool. So I think this is something you'd have to check out.
Yeah. Yeah,
like hand tools generally were the one thing that was sort of allowed to be used out of your own box. So your typical, screwdrivers, basic spanner set, to use the appropriate vernacular here. Those things were allowed, but when you get inside of a motor, that's where extra caution needs to happen. We saw the instance where they did a borescope inspection on the motor, and they failed to do the close-up procedure properly. Same thing with leaving something in an engine. This is an area where you have to be extra cautious. I'm quite shocked that this happened, and that it went this far, and that they weren't madly looking for this part or this tool. So
Yeah, it seems crazy for it to have been missing for such a long period of time, but also amazing that it didn't, for somehow it didn't get damaged or didn't damage the engine.
yeah, saying it's plastic, I think, is its saving grace. The strength in a lot of these engines to take a lot of damage from a bird strike, nowadays drone strikes, whatever. They're able to take ice, so plastic, yeah, probably could chew it up, but it still could disrupt stuff. Small pieces could break off, plug up, sensors, plug up ports on the engine. It seems like this is something you just won't let loose without finding it and relocating it. I mean, it's probably a bloody expensive piece of plastic, honestly, because it's an airplane part.
Yeah, it's got to be certified.
Yeah.
Plus, also, if it does damage the engine, it's not going to cost you a couple of £100.
No, you're talking probably small thousands at the best luck, millions at bad luck. So.
Now, Nick, you've got number 4 in the old list here, and we haven't had a good passenger kicking off story lately, but
no, but I did. So this one comes from the independent.co.uk, and I have to admit, we seem to have had a few of these recently of people trying to open aircraft doors, and it seemed, I don't know if it's becoming a bit of a thing, but anyway, it sort of piqued my interest a little bit. But yeah, so the article headline is American Airlines passengers tackle and restrain man for trying to open plane door mid-flight. So a video shows a man tackled, duct taped after trying to open plane door. He was on board an American Airlines flight after he aggressively tried to open the plane door mid-flight. So it was flight 1219 from Albuquerque to Chicago. And it was 30 minutes into its 3-hour journey on Tuesday, the 20th of Feb, when the man attempted to open the emergency exit door. So I will come back to that because I'm curious to know, at 30 minutes into the flight, you'd expect it to be probably pretty close to cruise altitude, would you say, John?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So 6 men reportedly wrestled the man to the aisle floor before duct taping his legs and restraining him with flexi cuffs. Fellow flyer said 30 minutes after departing, I was shaken out of my Panda Express and tequila-induced stupor by a man aggressively trying to open the airplane door 4 rows back. Another person wrote, one of the scariest days of my life. There was a huge gush of wind which came out of nowhere when the man opened the emergency exit door. Now, that's a bit weird because that kind of implies that somebody did actually manage to open the door and depressurize the aircraft, but we'll come on to that in a minute. So the plane was safely turned around for an emergency landing back at Albuquerque, and video footage shows the man being escorted from the plane in handcuffs by 4 police officers. American Airlines told The Independent that the service from Albuquerque to Chicago returned shortly after takeoff due to a disturbance in the cabin involving a disruptive customer. The flight landed safely and the aircraft was met by local law enforcement upon arrival. This disruption follows similar incidents in the cabin over the last year. A Ryanair flight from Zadar to London Stansted in July saw a man restrained by other passengers after he became disruptive and tried to open the door moments before takeoff. And in September, a passenger was detained in northeastern India after allegedly trying to open an aircraft door. And after a series of incidents, it's prompted South Korean travelers to have new pre-takeoff warnings.
Mm.
And airlines will be required to warn passengers against opening aircraft doors. Why we should have to do that, I don't know. According to new operating guidelines to avoid any attempts to open the emergency exits while flying. So let's just talk about cabin pressure, and let's just talk about, is it actually possible to open an aircraft door while you're flying? So this was me getting a little bit bored and thinking, I wonder what it actually equates to. So I did, as our American counterparts like to say, I did the math. So if we look at an average size of a cabin door, let's assume it's about just under a meter by about 2 meters tall. So I sort of figured out what the surface area of that was. I looked at what the internal pressure of the aircraft would be once it's pressurized at altitude, and then I subtracted what the external pressure of the aircraft was. And if any of you have seen this week's beautiful show graphic, you will see a rather lovely picture of the Nevmobile, which is which has been filled with various members of the PTUK crew, looking very happy on a little trip out in Nev's car there. So the reason for that is that basically at 35,000 feet, the equivalent force required to open a cabin door is just over 9.4 tons, which equates to about 4.7 Nev cars with PTUK crew on board. So that's how much effort it would take to open a cabin door. So in other words, not something that you or I or Britain's strongest man or whoever you like is going to be able to achieve. So really and truly, if somebody thinks, oh, I'm going to have a crack at opening the cabin door, my advice is, you crack on, you have a go and see what you can do, because it ain't happening.
What do you think, John?
Yeah, it'd be pretty hard pressed. I mean, I've known of a few instances where pressurized airplanes on the ground, where they pressurize the plane up to test the system, have been popped open, and the door comes blowing open. But at cruise altitude, it's even higher. It doesn't seem too realistic. I mean, this thing has to slide up an inch or so before it's able to move. I just don't see anybody having the force the leverage to do that from the inside. And when you do it from the outside on the ground, it's supposed to depressurize the aircraft automatically, as I recall from my long ago days of catering. So from the inside, I don't see it happening. Wow, dumb place to do that from, somewhere out in the Southwest where a lot of big burly guys that have no problem fighting. That you look at the guy, one of the guys tackling him, he looked like I bet you there's some cowboy boots on the bottom of those feet. So yeah, I mean, people go crazy on airplanes. I've seen this a few different times where people kind of get irate and they get claustrophobic. They just lose their mind. Or the best combination, alcohol and Ambien, comes to mind. Always really generates some good thought processes. So I'm going to guess that's what you're going to see here. But go for it. I don't think you're ever going to do it. If you do, well, you're done. So
yeah,
nowadays people are going to tackle you and crush you to the ground.
I was going to say, many years ago, John, I think it was a case sort of years ago that people would just kind of sit around and wonder what's going on and not interact. But I think now times have changed, and I think more and more passengers now are more likely to not be very happy and get involved. And
we have, even in America, with our bad memory of history, or history only was 5 seconds ago. This aspect stuck. Nobody's gonna sit around passively and watch you try to do something that could kill them anymore. They're gonna, expect somebody else to act. somebody's going to get up there and get going. I mean, you go back to the beginning, when the guy tried to break into the front of a 767 and he was getting drug out of the cockpit by 6 people, and the first officer whacked him in the back of the head with a side of the crash axe. I mean, you're going to see something happen to you if you act out like this. And the 1 or 2 times I've been on flights where something like this happened, there's always been people been getting up, and in one case I was the one who was getting up and kind of gave the high sign to the flight attendant, hey, give me the go signal and I'll go. But they kind of quickly died down when they saw like 3 or 4 of us standing up. Yeah. And they sat down, and that was it. So,
and this is the reason why, John, you fly cargo.
Yeah, definitely. Dealing with people is just, they're trouble. They cause all the trouble. It's bad enough just getting stuff on the airplane, let alone people that want to do something stupid. So,
yeah. Now, next story comes to us from fly.co.uk, and we're going techie for this one. We all know the Airbus, you literally hop in the seat, press 3 buttons, and you take off and fly and land. But this is a whole new level of tech. Skyrise revolutionizes flight controls with 1 stick and 2 screens. That's it. If you've ever flown a helicopter, you'll know how complicated it can be. Move 1 control and you'll have to adjust another and then another. It's the same to a lesser extent in the fixed-wing aircraft, but the fact is pilots have persevered with traditional controls for decades, and no one has had much of an attempt to move forwards. Until now, it appears US company Skyrise has revealed the production version of its modified Robinson R66 helicopter with a single stick control, a fly-by-wire system, and 2 touchscreens. That's it. Skyrise calls it Sky OS, a nod to the simplicity and clean design that Apple has introduced computer and Apple. It's an operating system that offers simplified control and an aircraft agnostic triple redundant fly-by-wire system. An aircraft agnostic means it can be applied to almost any aircraft, not just helicopters. Since the invention of vertical flight, pilots have juggled 4 controls simultaneously using both hands and feet just to keep airborne until today, according to the company. So features in Skyrise: 1, as the company calls the modified R66, the fly-by-wire flight system. This isn't an autopilot. It's a full 4-axis flight control system flown with the Sky OS operating system and fly-by-wire. Dynamic envelope protection. This is a continuously combining pilot's inputs, environment conditions, aircraft status, and flight parameters to keep the aircraft in a safe envelope. And the interactive and triply redundant flight control system provides a level of aviation safety usually found only in fighter jets and airliners. Also, the fully automated auto rotation. Skyrise SkyOS quickly recognizes a power failure and automatically enters it into an auto rotation, automating the glide and flare to set down with the pilot in control. Auto pickup and set down. Skyrise 1 will also pick up and set down at a pilot's command with 1 simple swipe of the screen. Also, hover assist. Traditional helicopters require complex synchronization of all 4 controls. Skyrise's Sky OS simplifies that, assisting pilots by maintaining a hover at their command without hands or feet. Inherent stability. Because Skyrise 1 is continuously stabilized by Sky OS, you can let go of the controls at any time and the aircraft will stay inside a safe flight envelope. Swipe to start. This sounds good. Traditional helicopters are also started through a lengthy multi-setup or step startup procedure. The Skyrise 1 automates all of that, allowing the pilot to start the engine by simply swiping right on the screen. IFR capable, Skyrise 1 will be fully certified for instrument flight rules at half the cost of an IFR rated helicopter. Also, Skyrise has removed the complex mechanical controls and replaced them with a single 4-axis control stick, said to be similar to that found on the F-35. The single control stick is combined with 2 touchscreens, uncluttered by traditional complex array of boxes and controls and indicators. And the complete price for the Skyrise 1 will set you back a cool $1.8 million, excluding any customized interiors or paints. So if you want a metallic paint job, it's going to cost you more. I must say, it looks good. Personally, I've flown in helicopters, never actually flown a helicopter before. I must admit, I'm more of a fixed-wing lover myself. John, have you had a chance to dabble in the world of those things that spin around in the sky?
I don't generally fire things that try to kill me. I would like actually learn to fly maybe, but no, I've actually never ridden in a helicopter. It's been in the air before.
Really?
Ironically, the one chance I was going to have to do it was on a Civil Air Patrol mission looking for actually a crashed helicopter. And the helicopter that was being offered to us did not have enough load carrying capability to carry me and one other person with our gear to drop us off in a somewhat remote location real quick. And we ended up having to drive. So the opportunity has not existed. I mean, I know the basics of this and how to fly. I mean, this is interesting. And I guess, yeah, they're kind of leveraging the capabilities that have been developed with, software-driven flight computers in the F-35 world. But, yeah, I don't know. Auto rotations without having that collective seems a bit weird. Especially if you're going to a point, how's it going to know when the flare if you're landing on top of a building versus the ground?
Yeah, indeed. I mean, is the object of this exercise though, so that you can just sort of anybody can essentially fly a helicopter, or is it? It's like the Tesla of helicopters, isn't it? Essentially.
Oh, it's absolutely the Tesla of helicopters. I think it would greatly simplify the whole learning process, the operating process. I think you're kind of taking this to the point where it's competing with these new vertical lift, creations that are out there, which are similar sort of design where it's all computer controlled. You don't really know how to fly. That's basically marketing something outside a helicopter.
Yeah,
already exists to that realm.
But it's essentially a video game, isn't it? I mean, you're essentially flying a video game.
Oh, this is like flying Microsoft Flight Sim in the 90s when they first put a helicopter into it.
Only if it goes wrong, it's going to be a bit ouchy.
Yes.
It's just like,
I mean, triple redundant computer systems and whatever, but you have one joystick. If that joystick goes wrong,
and you're heavily reliant on electrical power as well, and having
actually, the electrical power stuff, I'm less concerned about that more and more now because the quality of electronics, even on the cheap stuff coming out of China, is really pretty amazing. The failure rate, now you have batteries that last a long time to provide the power for computers, for driving certain aspects of the systems. And a lot of the systems on the aircraft can be driven without electricity. Hydraulic pumps, and stuff can be powered still without the access to, you don't have to have an electrical pump to drive it. You can have it be running off the engine or off the rotors if it's auto rotating or something like that. So yeah, it's an interesting idea. I fly a Boeing for a reason, so I still have wires to attach myself to some of the controls at least.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that, John.
I'm old. I got a lot of gray hairs here.
John has
to. I'm self-induced.
He actually has to fly the aircraft. Can you imagine if we had Andy with us tonight, being our resident Airbus pilot? Yeah,
could be a few pokes back and forth.
I think his argument would be, well, I don't see the problem personally, but this is the thing.
Anyway, Nick, you've got the next story, and it's all about an airline that me and Matt will be finding out lots about tomorrow.
No.
Yeah, we still need to work on getting Nev on board one of these,
I'm working on it.
It's got
Don't
to happen.
worry.
It's got to happen this year, I think. So yeah, it's Mr. O'Leary kicking off again. I think I don't know if he likes the sound of his own voice, but he seems to like being in the news a lot, and maybe it's just his way of getting more publicity for Ryanair. But yeah, he's basically complaining about the fact that Boeing are not delivering aircraft on time. So it comes from bbc.co.uk. Ryanair warns of 10% fare rise as new Boeing planes are delayed. Boss of Ryanair has said that holidaymakers will face higher fares this summer due to new Boeing planes being delivered late. Chief Executive Michael O'Leary said the delayed delivery of planes will constrain capacity for passengers. And he said that Ryanair's ticket prices could be up more than 10% more expensive this summer as a result. Ryanair hopes to get some compensation, but is focused on getting planes delivered, Mr. O'Leary added. He said that delivery of 57 Boeing 737 Maxes was due in March, but the firm thinks that only 40 to 45 may arrive in time for the summer season. Major concerns have been raised about quality control for new Boeing aircraft, sparking a slowdown in production speed. And Mr. O'Leary said cost saves through hedging on fuel would mean that Ryanair's fare increase would not be as steep as the 17% rise seen in 2023. Some other airlines have had capacity constraints caused by aircraft not being available, he added. A problem with Pratt & Whitney engines, for example, has grounded a number of Airbus planes used by carriers such as Wizz Air. Mr. O'Leary told reporters that there would be a higher fare environment across Europe this summer. Ryanair's original forecast for the year to the end of March 2025 was that it would carry 205 million passengers, up from around 183.5 million in the 12 months before. Mr. O'Leary said that with less aircraft, maybe we'll have to bring that 205 million down towards 200 million. If capacity was growing, I think fares would be falling, he added. So yeah, I've seen a number of stories about this in the last week, and I think a number of airlines are obviously kind of counting on the efficiency of newer aircraft like the Max in order to be able to keep a kind of competitive edge with their airfares. And obviously, it's with quite tight margins on airfares, it's quite a big deal, isn't it, for a number of airlines to be able to maintain that competitive advantage.
I get what he's saying. Obviously, with the lack and the slow production rate at the minute of the Maxes, but also don't forget as well, this year alone. Bear in mind, we're only now at the end of February. Ryanair have already announced 7 new routes this year. So that's 7 new, routes that have got to be serviced by aircraft. So they're only adding to their shortfall of aircraft by adding more and more.
So they're
routes.
making it worse for themselves, effectively.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, obviously they need to put more routes on to obviously get more money in the pot, but you need aircraft to service these routes. And so I mean, I was tracking a few aircraft this afternoon whilst Matt was down with me, and we were watching Flight Radar 24. Well, the guys at Airline were live at Manchester, and one of those Ryanair 737-800s that they had coming in was nearly 18 years old.
Wow.
So you can see they're sort of trying to obviously renew the fleet, get rid of some of the older aircraft and get these Maxes in. But, I'm surprised that they've not either gone down the route of either leasing some more or even purchasing second-hand aircraft that may be 2 or 3 years old from airlines that maybe have failed. But
I can't see him doing either of those things, to be honest with you. Certainly not leasing, because of course you're tied into a contract, and that's the one thing that I know he does have some leased planes, but the majority of them are all owned by Ryanair, and I think that's one of the reasons why the model works, doesn't it? Because essentially, you're not paying. You're not paying someone else for that aircraft, and once you do own it, which is probably after a few years, then all it's doing is making once it's covered its running costs, it's making pure profit, isn't it?
Thoughts, John, before we move on?
I mean, I think one, he's talking to hear himself talk. I think he's preconditioning the market to raise his fares by talking this way. And yeah, it's a renewal program. So, I mean, they probably have the airframes to do it. Maybe this would impact their ability to run and operate some of their longer sectors that they wanted to run with those MAX aircraft. But I don't know. It kind of feels like he's preconditioning the market to run higher prices. And yeah, everybody's kind of suffering from aircraft issues, Airbus and with the engines, and well, Boeing being Boeing right now. So yeah, that's about it. It's him talking to be talking.
Captain Cruz is saying in the chat room the oldest Ryanair aircraft is 21 years old.
Oh, 21?
Yeah.
Blimey.
I'm amazed. I would have, if I had to guess, I would have been surprised if they'd had anything that was more than about sort of 10 or 12 years old. Yeah, I'm quite surprised by that.
That's just in its prime.
Yeah, Oscar in the chat room is just saying that he thinks Ryanair is looking to fly turn from Norwich this year. Yes, you are right. They are looking to fly. I think it's next month. Ryanair start flying from Norwich to Alicante, Faro, and Malta.
Oh, awesome. Where are we going, Oscar? Where should we go?
Yeah, let's go somewhere.
Let's go somewhere cool. Not Malta. Carlos is obsessed with Malta. That's all he cares about. Let's go somewhere else.
Anyway, John, are you a big fan of Taylor Swift?
I'm a big fan of one of her songs that was done on a TV show in America where they lip sync, called Lip Sync Battle, where they had The Rock singing one of her songs, but that's about it.
Anyway, John, do you want to take the next one from Paddle Your Own Canoe?
Feeling a theme here with Airbus and 380s here. Australian flag carrier Qantas forced to operate A380 Super Jumbo on a 1-hour flight as storms and Taylor Swift fever wreak havoc on schedule. And this is from that Paddle Your Own Canoe website again. Australian flag carrier Qantas was forced to use one of its double-deck Airbus A380 Super Jumbos on a domestic 1-hour flight on Friday afternoon after bad weather wreaked havoc on the airline's normal schedule. In anticipation of the impending storm, Air Service Australia limited the number of departures and arrivals into Sydney, forcing airlines to proactively cancel flights. However, Qantas devised a unique solution to get passengers to their intended destination. Normally, Qantas would simply rebook impacted passengers onto alternative flights, but with Taylor Swift playing her sold-out Eras Tour concert in Sydney for the first time in Sydney on Friday, spare seats on alternative flights were in short supply. Qantas pointed out, however, that passengers rebooked on the A380 Super Jumbo service were unlikely to have been traveling to Sydney to see Taylor Swift due to the time they were meant to be departing in the first place. With the ability to carry 485 passengers, the A380 replaced the equivalent of nearly 3 Boeing 737s that normally operate the short hop between Melbourne and Sydney. Normally used for some of Qantas's longer flights, the airline said it had an operational standby aircraft available, which would normally be used to cover another A380 in somewhere like London or Los Angeles, had maintenance issues. In a statement, a spokesman for Qantas noted, "Our operation teams across our domestic and international network have done a fantastic job to quickly find a solution to ensure customers can still get to Sydney today despite the forecast severe weather. All customers who are impacted have been contacted and provided information on their new flight details." Smart idea. Despite it being an Airbus 380. So, and switch the aircraft, upgauge it to something really large, 1 slot versus 3. Perfect. What else are you going to do?
I was going to say what the fuel impact would be, John, but on an hour's flight. So,
I mean, it's an efficient aircraft, and per seat, you probably had a lower burn per seat than you would have on an aero body. It's just not its normal place. I mean, the flight crew is probably terrified at the concept of up and down in such a short order. It's kind of like a simulator mission versus a a regular flight where you have hours to sort out what you're going to do. But no, I think it's a pretty smart idea. I think I've heard of other companies where they've upgauged before when they've had a spare aircraft, and if they had that one lying around and they could take 3 airplanes down to 1, that's perfect to me.
See, going back to the last story, this is an ideal opportunity now for Ryanair to up the ante. All these A380s that are currently sitting over in the Mojave Desert gathering dust, waiting for, Ryanair, grab 2 or 3 of those. Boom.
Yeah, just consolidate all the flight operations in England to Norwich, and perfect.
I mean, quite like to see an A380 land at Norwich. That would be interesting to see, I must say.
Might not take off again.
I say you'll get it in all right. I just don't think you'll get it out. That's the problem. Yeah. Well, you might do, but it'll be in bits on several low loaders.
Exactly. Next story comes from enroute.canada.com, and something very important, especially in John's career, is tyres, aircraft tyres. How aircraft tyres keep the Air Canada fleet rolling. Well, and pretty much every airline, I should imagine. Groove-treaded and nitrogen-inflated jumbo tyres are the unsung hero of every flight. Burning rubber is still probably considered cool if you own a high-performance automobile or car. But we pilots, John, we're going to guess this evening, will try to burn as little rubber as possible, even if he can't afford to. A small puff of blue smoke on landing. Unseen by passengers on board, tyres are a big deal in aviation. Each of the 12 tyres on the main landing gear of the 777 is more than 1.3 metres across and weighs in at 120 kilograms. And every tyre in the fleet has its own history, tracked in its own file and monitored closely by the maintenance team. Main wheel tyres have an average lifespan of 300 to 450 landings. That's quite a lot. Sounds a lot, that does. While a nose wheel can withstand 200 to 350 landings. The nose wheel wears more when pilots pivot left and right, turning the aircraft. Depending on wear and tear, some tyres may stay on much longer, for up to 600 landings, while others may be replaced after just 50. Tyres for the entire fleet for Air Canada are leased from Goodyear, Michelin and Bridgestone.
Hang on. Leased?
They lease tyres. I know. How crazy is that?
That can't be true, John, surely?
I wouldn't be surprised because they get retreaded all the time. So if you can maintain the
so as long as you can maintain
carcass,
the sort of structure of the tyre, they're essentially all remolds. Is that what you're sort of saying? They're sort of like
correct. Yeah, they'll grind them down, put a new outside on the carcass, and put it back, and oftentimes they actually last longer because it's a thicker.
Yeah, I guess
a thicker set of rubber.
Every fibre of my being feels like when it's such an important part of the landing process that you'd sort of feel they should probably be shiny new ones. Not remolds. But
yes and no. I mean, because it's susceptible to the same problems. If the tire is not, it's like cooked, right? So they take all the rubber, they put it into a special oven, and they cook it to get it to all come together chemically.
Yeah.
And if that process there's a bunch of layers in there, if that process is not done right as a new tire, let alone a remanufactured or a retread tire, it's going to come apart no matter what. And a lot of it's tires. It's the wear and tear is one. Are you managing your tires correctly? Tire pressures. Are you minimizing your brake usage? Because we put a lot of heat into the tire from the brakes. Our company is always talking about, hey, minimum braking possible because that heat wears out the tire. Remanufactured tires is pretty standard. I think one of our certificates, I think the smaller side of our certificate was using new tires, but I think in essence there was also sort of a way to get the new tires in on one side, and then everything else was on the remanufactured retread tires.
I mean, one of the things for me, like back in the in the coach driving days, quite often it was not uncommon to have remolds on the rear, like on the front wheels, the steering wheels, that was an absolute big no-no to have remolded tyres. That's why it's sort of melting my mind almost.
Yeah, I mean all the force is going into the main gear tires for the most part. If the landing's done correctly, that's where all the energy goes, and then the nose gear is put down pretty gently. I'm trying to think. On the Sierra J, I don't think we used. I think those were always fresh tires in the nose gear. I don't know that I don't know what we are on a 7.4. To be honest, I think I've seen retreads, but I can't say with any level of certainty. But the main gear definitely is very often retreads, and sometimes you'll see a bad one come out and it'll hit, a few cycles on it, and you'll start to see the tread start to pull apart, and then it gets pulled real quick. So, because nobody wants to throw a tread, because a tread is, oftentimes 2 inches thick, and when it's first going on there, and if that lets loose, it does destroy things in its path. My last company, or 2 companies ago, when I was actually in the quality assurance job, we had a bad batch of the retreaded tires, and in a week and a half period, we had 3 sets of treads go through the flaps into the motor.
Oof, blimey!
And the tire manufacturer bought 3 engines.
Oh, that sounds very expensive. Yes.
Yeah. So nobody wants to do it wrong.
No.
There's very high quality control. I actually got an opportunity to go down to Miami to a BF Goodrich site where they remanufactured the landing gear, the actual physical metal part of the structure, and they did wheels and tires. I was there for the wheels and tire shop, and that was actually pretty fascinating because
I bet.
the wheels are in 2 pieces, and the tires are in there, and they'll take a tire apart, inspect the whole tire carcass, make sure there's no damage, and then they put it into the process where they strip off the rubber down to a certain level, make sure it's all even, and then they start putting the layers back on, and they put it into the oven, and they cook it, and then they put it back onto a wheel, and then they put it into a cage with 2-inch thick steel bars all around it, and they pressurize it up to the maximum level, and they let it sit there for several hours for a leak check and make sure it doesn't come apart.
Wow,
so,
okay.
Because if it comes apart, the cage, they said, I'll just destroy the cage, but we'll keep it inside the cage. So
a bit of tire tech. I was just reading on the story here that Nick's put on this 230 psi, roughly, for a Boeing 787 aircraft. You think car tire, we're talking anywhere from 30 to 36 psi for most cars?
Yeah, that's.
Now, I found a cost for a tire for a regional aircraft. They're saying $5,000 for a main body tire, and the $6,000 for like a 777 or so. So it's about big cost on tires right there.
Yeah.
Ow.
But they're so important, though. That's the thing, isn't it? That it's that is the difference between a successful landing and not. At the end of the day, isn't it?
And
generally speaking, yeah, stopping. They're very important for stopping.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and then the
very very important if you want
cycles they get is pretty low. I mean, because I think this was saying a little higher than what we get. We only get about 150 cycles on the 7.4, but we're landing at much higher weights than even these 777s are. I'm landing, like I said, I think I said earlier, it was 346 is the max landing weight. It's pretty common to be landing real close to max landing weight on the Dash 8s, and 300 tons to 280, 300 tons on a 747-400. So it's a lot of energy goes into those tires. They don't last long.
And as Dirk has just pointed out in the chat room, John, that is nitrogen.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, when I lived in the U.S., it was really easy to get nitrogen at all the tire stores, and I would always service my tires with nitrogen. It was great because you don't have any of that cold weather issues where you have to constantly inflate, deflate. They said it was really good to minimize oxidation on the inside of the tire, so the tire lasted longer. And we had tires there, like on my wife's car, we had on the car for almost 80,000 miles.
Wow. Okay.
They met the full life of the tire, which was amazing. But it always serviced with nitrogen. I always stayed really on top of it. But yeah.
There's a comment in the chat room, especially for you, John. I don't know if you can see that on the screen there.
747 deserves more tires than the 777 being much cooler. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, but the 777 has that cool rear steering tire, though. I remember the first time seeing that. It was pretty impressive. But yeah, we steer our whole body gear tires, so they got it from us.
Quite.
Now, we've got one last story, and as I said at the top of the show, Armando's not with us, but Armando being Armando, he has sent in a video. This is from... Yes. You haven't got it, have you?
Where is it? Where is it? In the usual place?
Should be in the usual place.
Okay, all right. Give me a minute. Yeah.
We'll-
Chat amongst yourself.
We'll talk about something.
All I've got is a VT clock in the usual place. That's why.
While Matt tries to find that, John, before we move on, any exciting flights planned for? I know you're off now for a little while, but are you off anywhere?
I am stuck on reserve for the next 2 months, so I have not a clue what I'm going to be doing. Yeah, I've been at 60-day lines, so that it's a little easier for sync spouse to make planning for the family. And this worked for our May vacation that we have here in the Netherlands to start it. I still have to bid the May part of it, which is a little troubling, but the next 2 months is just a hodgepodge of whatever's left over for me, and maybe some good airline miles.
Do you get? Is that like a last minute call thing, and John, in a situation like that, do you get a call from the airline and say, "Well, we need you tomorrow here"?
Yeah, in theory, that's how it is. This version I'm doing is a hotel reserve, so I'll be in the hotel, and in theory, they could call me, and I could go fly right away in a couple hours. The reality is that usually a day or two out, they start filling up the schedule because we just don't use reserve like real airlines do. You know, we have a lot of hodgepodge flying. Our schedulers are constantly taking new flights from our customers, and then they just start building those lines up into the reserves to get it covered and get it flying. Preferably, hopefully, I do a bunch of military stuff. I actually don't like that. A lot of times that gets up into reserves, so I bounce around from base to base, and the food's better. So,
Was there a seniority level then with the airline that you work for, John, in regards to like the crew, like the captain and FO side of things? Is there like you can pick and choose if you want to do certain?
in theory, yes. On our contract, there's a seniority. It rules everything in the U.S. system, but with the way my airline goes, it doesn't buy you much because we have such a hodgepodge of flying that you don't really get to. You could choose your days off. Is really about all your seniority really buys you, and you get more vacation. But a lot of guys will try and choose it. We have a little bit better contract now where you can kind of bid a line and try and stay on that line, but things drop off, and then your whole line explodes because you're on the wrong continent. I mean, have to build something totally new for you. So,
well, enjoy your time at home. I think, John, is the takeaway from this. I think, Matt, how are you getting on with the Discovery?
Somebody's not checked their WhatsApp, have they? I'm afraid I can't find anything in either of the locations. So, for whatever reason, it hasn't been uploaded, I'm afraid.
No, not to worry. We'll move on with the show then, because we have got loads to get through. And we're moving on to this week's Caption This Just for Fun. Now, when I posted this on our social medias earlier on in the week, the weekend, Sunday, I think it was, I posted it on there. It sparked quite a bit of conversation on social media, on Facebook. So if you haven't already seen it and you don't already follow PTK on Facebook, give us a look while you're there and a like, obviously, on there. Now, Nick, for the benefit of of the listeners, what would you say is, or the audio listeners, what would you say is going on with this picture, Nick?
Take myself off mute there. So it's a what looks like I'm going to say a sort of Piper small single-engine GA aircraft, clearly cruising along at altitude with a gentleman stood on the wing.
Indeed, a robust gentleman, I think.
A robust gentleman, yeah.
Thoughts, John?
Oh yeah, no, do it all the time.
Yeah.
Just step back a little bit there.
So we had a few comments in the on the Facebook page, and we're going to start off with the first comment from someone who I think we all know who this is, Mrs. Mrs. Nev, shall we say? This one, she says, "I know it's a small plane, but I didn't realise the toilet would be outside." Very good, thank you.
I like that. Yes.
Nick, do you want to take the next one?
Some guy called Nick Codling who's
Never heard of him.
One, yeah, I don't know. He sounds dodgy. So having enjoyed a particularly potent biryani the night before, the pilot was a little alarmed when one of his passengers opted to take a breather out in the outside seating area.
Could be troubling.
Outside seating area. There's a thought.
John, do you want to take the next one?
Jenny Parkinson, I finally mastered Photoshop.
That's not Photoshop. That's a real picture.
Uh-huh.
The lovely Leanne, she says, this is a good one. Classic British, this one. I can see the pub from here. Like that one.
Ain't that the truth?
Nick, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, we've got one from Dirk, our good friend of the show, Dirk. Being the fine person that he is, Matt agreed to pose for a photo before he continued to pursue his favourite hobby, skydiving.
I'm offended.
It had to come out again, didn't it?
Oh,
no.
Thanks for that, Dirk.
No thanks, Dirk.
Oh.
No.
John,
No.
do you want the next one?
Darren Smith says, if I jump off this Cherokee, it will climb straight away to 40,000 feet. Only joking, it can't actually do that, I know.
Right.
Well,
yes, yeah.
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see the that
I mean, if you put it on a
aircraft
massive,
40,000 feet.
rubber band and fired it directly at the sun, maybe it might reach,
Chris is good. This is another classic British one, I think. This is, I'll wait here for the food delivery. I'd like to see Deliveroo try that one.
Yeah. Well, they are they're very talented at what they do.
We've got one from Julian Begg, who says, hold tight there a minute. More fuel is on the way. We'll have you moving in no time at all.
Well,
Yeah, I did notice actually from that picture that the prop is not moving. But anyway,
but it's a photograph, isn't it? So perhaps it's a high shutter speed, therefore it's not an issue. Therefore you can get what you need. Yeah.
John, do you want to take John's?
Yeah, John Falk says, hey, Nev, I freed up 1A for you.
I like that. Yeah.
I think Nev he'd try that actually. Sean says, oh no, it's controversial.
Oh no.
Sean says the new Boeing Warrior.
Oh, jeez.
I think is there...
what now?
Is that in relation to the door being open?
Not a clue.
Oh dear.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Nick, what's the next one from James?
I got one from James Graves Brown. What a drag! There's plenty of air everywhere. Anyway, people take pictures next to their planes all the time.
Just not at 14,000 feet.
No, indeed.
John, you got Richard's one.
Richard King says, hey, my engine has stopped. How do I get down?
Well, with a parachute.
Carefully,
Yeah.
I think is the answer you're looking for.
Yeah.
We follow Matt's lead and lead and jump out.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Nigel Domini, he says, hey, Mike, when do we take off? Well, you may have already done that, I think. Nick, do you want to take the last one from James?
Yeah, we've got one from James Gently, who says the Breitling wing walking team embracing diversity for the 2024 season.
I mean, I don't doubt that you could probably achieve this in a Piper Warrior. You know, flying at probably 70 or 80 knots. The door might be a struggle to get open.
Or 10 feet.
The door might not close again afterwards.
Yeah, be a bit.
You get it
bit
open.
noisy.
I think it just might be bent permanently.
Yeah,
I think that in the chat, Aaron P's got a pretty good one there.
Let's have a look. What's Aaron saying? Aaron says, here we go.
when you've got to pee, make sure you are facing the right way.
Very good.
Yes, very good, very good, very good.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that one.
Very
I
good,
like that
very
one.
nice. Yes.
Yeah, I have seen a few comments about Mr. Smith doing his special skydive for the
What?
500th episode.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, this is a great one. Oh, let me get this one up here.
Oh no.
This John will know where this comes from. From that's Alpha Juliet.
Oh, there's fire
Remember- do you
extinguishers in his pant legs.
You must remember the YouTube guy who jumped out of the
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that was so bad.
Yeah, we covered that story on the show. That was the guy, Matt, who intentionally
crashed his plane. Yeah.
crashed his plane.
Yeah.
But
You
when
got jail time out of that.
yeah,
Good. Serves him right.
yeah.
Don't be an idiot. That's the advice.
But when he jumped out, you could see on the video that he'd got was it a fire extinguisher strapped to his
Oh,
legs.
Eddie?
Yeah. I was expecting the worst, I suppose.
Dirk,
But, yeah.
Dirk says in the chat room that the photo was taken by Armando in one of his zillion airplanes.
Yeah. Close up.
I mean, he's only got 3. There's no need to exaggerate.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, he's got access to more, but
yeah.
Oh, jeez.
He's got more than me.
yeah,
Honestly, for
quite.
those of you guys and girls listening and watching the show, will nowhere near ever feel the pain that we feel as aviation enthusiasts having Armando on the show or part of the show and sending us every day pictures of hangars with aircraft, flight decks. You name it, we get the entire immersion into Armando's daily routine.
Oh,
of
shush
flying
now.
the
You
Hawker.
absolutely
It's
love
awful.
it. Yeah,
We had
yeah.
a, we had a
It
nice,
Yeah.
nice bit of cloud surfing the other day, wasn't there?
Yes,
It gets to me, and I'm the one flying around professionally, too. I'm like, oh, I'd like to be doing that, too.
Oh, John,
Yeah.
feel free to send us countless videos in. That's absolutely fine.
Well, yeah,
Anyway.
but Armando gets to go fly the fun stuff, so.
Yeah.
Talking of the main man himself, Armando, we have got the military segment to get through. So, if all the team are ready and Matt is also ready to hit that magical grey button.
Blast up buggies 135, 50, Angel 16, heading 340. Okay. 108 buggies.
And kicking off the first story this week on the military news, and as we're going off to Dublin tomorrow for the drone summit, we pick a UAV story. This one is Canada are to provide the Ukraine with 800 Sky Ranger UAVs. So Canada will furnish the Ukraine with 800 small, uncrewed aerial vehicles, or UAVs, to support the beleaguered Eastern European country in its war against Russia. On the 19th of February, it said it will donate more than 800 multi-mission Teledyne FLIR Sky Ranger R70 quadcopters to the Ukraine, a package valued at $70 million. The multi-rotored UAV boasts a payload of up to 3.5 kilos or 7.7 pounds, including the ability to carry surveillance munitions packages. The Canadian defence official said the new UAVs will assist the Ukraine military with some of its most urgent battlefield needs. The drones are critical for surveillance, intelligence gathering, and can also be used to transport and deliver supplies, according to the Canadian Ministry of Defence. Canada is also working with Ukraine on a training plan and delivery schedule, with delivery expected to begin this spring. Teledyne FLIR produces the Sky Ranger in Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. And in Canada in 2023, separately provided Ukraine with over 100 L3 Wescam high-resolution cameras that will be paired with the new UAVs. Since the start of the war, 2 years ago, small commercial drones have emerged as a cheap and effective means of filling a range of battlefield functions, including precision strike reconnaissance and artillery spotting. Both parties in the conflict have raced to secure supply chains for the increasingly critical assets. And Ottawa says the Sky Ranger R70s come equipped with an autonomous navigation system and the ability to carry a range of camera systems used to detect and identify targets. It seems to be the way of the world now, I think, guys, with UAVs being used more and more for, well, military purposes, definitely. But obviously these ones are slightly smaller than the ones that they see on the, on the battlefield as such in maybe other battles and stuff in other countries. But yeah, it's a lot to give. Canada must, well, the company must have a damn good production plant to manufacture, 800 of these.
Yeah, that's a lot, isn't it? It's but I'm quite impressed by that 3.5 kilogram payload. That's a lot of bags of sugar, isn't it?
Yeah. And the camera as well.
Powered by a chainsaw motor or something there. That's a big UAV. And those FLIR cameras are amazing. They can see in the dark. And that definitely adds a lot to their capabilities if they can get those into the hands of the Ukrainians. And the drone factor in this war has been amazing. I follow this quite a bit, and I follow some podcasts that discuss it. And the change that has made to the way things are looked at for fighting purposes is, really amazing. And this little bit of kit coming to the Ukrainians could be, welcome relief for them to improve their abilities.
No, I know circumstances. I know Matt has got one at home. John, have you got one? A little UAV, or have you not ventured into that?
I am parked right next to Schiphol, so no drone flying around here for me. And I don't know if Sync Spouse would allow for that.
Have you had yours out recently, Matt, or has that not been out for a while?
Do you know what? It actually hasn't, and I need to put that right, really. I haven't flown it for quite a little while, actually. Yeah, I need to. I have just renewed my license. It's just come up for renewal, and I've done that. So done all right.
We'll find out more this weekend.
I need to do more flying.
John, next story we've got in the military segment for this week. We'll let you take this one from Flight Global.
All right. From Flight Global, it says RAF starts exploring Hawk T2 replacement options to support Golf Tango Alpha Papa Fleet. I'm not sure what that stands for. Let's see. Oh, yeah. UK Royal Air Force is starting to assess its pilot training needs regarding the future Global Combat Air Program, having determined that its current BAE system Hawk 2s will not be suitable for the task. A 28-strong fleet of Hawk 2s currently delivers advanced jet training in support of the RAF's Eurofighter, Typhoon, and Lockheed Martin F-35B fleets. It was always planned to go out of service around the end of the next decade, and we are pretty clear that it won't meet the requirements of a Global Combat Air Program solution. The Chief of the Air Staff and Air Chief Marshal Sir Richard Knighton says of the current type. As a consequence, we need to plan now and start a program for the replacement of Hawk as an advanced jet trainer, he told the House of Commons Defense Committee on 21 February. How old are these Hawk aircraft? I only know what it is.
Yeah, so the Hawk was first introduced into service, John, back in 1976. A great year, I might just add. First flew in 1974 as the Hawk T1. Now they done a bit of modification to these back in 2009, was it? Yeah, 2009, they done a modification program replacing the center and rear fuselage sections replaced. They then made these into the first Hawk T2s, which were slightly bit more robust to replace the aging T1s. And the training operations with the Hawk T2s began back in 2012. So the actual Hawk itself is quite an old aircraft that they use. And obviously, as we all know, the Red Arrows use the Hawks as well, the T1s as well, for their displays here in the UK.
Okay, yeah, I just had a little Googling. I think this is the same as our T-45s we have in the States inventory for the Navy, I believe. And yeah, that's an aging airplane there, which has all of its aging aircraft issues, and the new aircraft with the quantity of data that has to be absorbed by pilots, and I'm gonna guess it probably still has steam gauges somewhere in it. That probably scares everybody when they first strap into it. And I think that the way things are going now, that they're going to need some more advanced aircraft, and just maintaining old airframes just gets hard. You're going to run into the stress issues on the wings, so that they're being used for flight training activities. They're getting worked hard, doing a lot of low acrobatics, and fighter jets just wear out quick. So it's good. Hopefully they're ahead of the curve, or at least on schedule with this, for finding a replacement. It's why we have that T7 program. It's finally starting to get its act together in the States. The same kind of problem.
Yeah, there's been over 1,000 of these produced, John, since they started production.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's a good little trainer as well, from what I've heard from the pilots who've spoken to before on the show. Now, Nick, sad news this one, Nick. Now, I know Jonathan Warner will not like this news, because this is one of his favourite aircraft, and he's took some pretty damn good shots of this aircraft in display.
Yeah, so this one is from the aviationist.com, and the headline is Belgian Air Force unexpectedly cancels F-16 solo display team. So the Belgian Air Force unexpectedly announced on February the 19th that the F-16 solo display team will not be renewed for the 2024 season. News is a complete change of direction from the Post, where the service announced the new season, mentioning counting the months until the new airshow season, with a photo of the team's F-16. The service posted a brief statement on its social media accounts, mentioning that they instead actively initiated the transition to the F-35 and phase out of the F-16, which is near the end of its service life. Our recent involvement in training Ukrainian pilots has mobilized a significant portion of our resources, further mentions the statement. Our primary focus now is on training our fighter pilots, fulfilling our operational commitments, and transitioning to the F-35A. In the last 2 years, the solo display team was assigned a special colour, F-16, nicknamed Dream Viper, piloted during air shows across Europe by senior captain Steve Rieske de Vries. Might need your guidance on that pronunciation there, John. The Dream Viper livery, which also won the most spectacular colour scheme at the Royal International Air Tattoo in 2022. Was created before the beginning of the 2022 airshow season by a collaboration of Captain de Vries and Nico de Buc. During the 2024 airshow season, the F-16 display team planned to celebrate the F-16's 50th anniversary and 45 years of the F-16 in Belgium. In their separate statement, the team added that this decision is out of their control, and more information and details will follow in due time. Now, I know we have had a number of stories relating to Ukrainian forces being donated, or however you want to call it, aircraft, and I think there has been a sort of significant number of F-16s that have ended up in Ukraine. So I don't know whether this is kind of down to a bit of a redeployment of some of those aircraft as the Belgian Air Force sort of transitions across to the F-35.
I think it's a big commitment for these guys to commit to the air show season, especially here in the UK. You've got RIAT, obviously the main one that they normally attend every year, and it is a big commitment for these teams to send an aircraft plus all the team, the pilots, and kind of all the stuff that goes along with it. And obviously it's an expense as well, and they've obviously got a lot on their plate. But it'll be missed, sadly missed. I've seen this. I managed to get to see this once. The solar display team, they are fantastic, and the aircraft looks stunning.
It is. The
Absolutely stunning.
F-16 is just a really cool looking thing,
Yeah.
isn't it? To me, it's kind of like the epitome of what a fighter aircraft should look like, really.
Yeah, yeah. Have you seen these guys, John? The solar display team?
I've not seen them actually do the air show, but we took a vacation down in southern Belgium and happened to be next to the base where they were doing their normal ops, and randomly had this, an older version of this aircraft come across a couple of times. And I mean, these things are stunning. I love seeing every time they come out with a new paint job on this thing. It's just been incredible. And I mean, to think that they're saying celebrating how many 40 some years just in Belgium, 45 years in Belgium. I mean, it's still hard to believe that aircraft is that experienced at this point. Yeah, it just looks incredible, and it's amazing. And I've had friends that have flown it, and they all have good things to say about it. Their backs and necks do not, but they love the aircraft, and I love seeing it. Makes all the right noises and does all the right things, and the Belgium paint job. I mean, I just love to go shake the hand of whoever does that, paints games and puts it together. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Hopefully, do it with the F-35 to make it snazzy looking, because it doesn't look snazzy right now.
That'd be good. I'd love to see that on the F-35.
Yeah, definitely.
It'd be stunning. First flew in 1974, John. January 1974.
Yeah, that's a 70s bird. It was an analog fly-by-wire system when it first came out. So
And check this
incredible
out.
change.
Since they started making the F-16, General Dynamics, there's been 4,600 or over 4,604 produced of these aircraft.
That's a big
Doesn't
old
feel
hefty
like it.
number, isn't it?
It was originally designed to be a light day VFR fighter interceptor. So go fast, shoot something down, come back.
Yeah.
And now it does all of the things. It's not one thing it doesn't do. It doesn't do air refueling,
No.
but it does air to air, air to mud. It can go against ships. It can go, do all the things. It's day, night, long range. It's an incredible system.
I know someone who would love one in his garden. Don't you, Mr. Smith?
What's that?
F-16. I'm surprised Mr. Warner hasn't got a piece
Oh,
of
I
it
see.
down in his garden.
Yeah, I don't think the wife would allow it somehow.
Yeah, he has the same issues as I do.
Yeah.
Just tell him he's got to go walk out in the desert out west of Phoenix. He'll probably find a few parts of them out there. Where they're...
Find one kicking around. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, they had a
Collect the bits,
bunch of them fall apart out there back when I was there in the 2000 time frame. They were blowing the back ends of the motors out of the aircraft, and have to ditch them out in the desert out there all the time. So
Wow.
yeah, they had a bad run for a while with some motors.
Imagine the plane tags I'd have here with those. Anyway,
Dear.
last one in the military news comes to us from vintageaviationnews.com. Nice old school story, this one. Aero Legends offering Spitfire flights alongside a C-47 DC-3 during D-Day 80th celebrations. Aero Legends, the UK's premium provider of vintage flying experiences, announced an exclusive opportunity to soar through the history alongside the legendary C-47 in honour of the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Aero Legends will offer the opportunity to fly in the iconic Spitfire with a Royal Air Force pilot and rendezvous alongside one or more of the C-47 DC-3 Dakotas. Flyers will experience the thrill of formation flights with iconic World War II aircraft and create memories that will, my word, they will definitely last a lifetime. Aero Legends' mission is to provide their customers with the opportunity to relive the flying experiences of Battle of Britain pilots using authentically restored wartime aircraft of the era, including the legendary Spitfire. Their ever-growing fleet of aircraft is the most diverse in the UK and is maintained to the highest standards. Aero Legends offers options that provide a unique chance to experience flying history alongside the meticulously restored aircraft that played that crucial role back in the D-Day Normandy campaign of 1944. Aero Legends operates from 3 venues, including historical World War II, London, Essex and Kent locations. Each provides unbeatable value with the ability to experience iconic landmarks such as the Battle of Britain Memorial, White Cliffs of Dover. Now, that would be what I would want to do with a Spitfire. Spectacular views over London and the Needles during your flight. All 3 are free from restrictive airspace and commercial air traffic. And unrestricted local airspace means you can experience unlimited aerobatic manoeuvres, and particularly above the airfield for your friends and family to see. The London, Essex and Kent and Dorset locations are family friendly with great facilities such as cast museums, runway viewing areas, and you can visit them over at their website, and it's all the www.aerolegends.co.uk. Do you know what that is? That would be that one ticket bucket item to tick off that would just
Be amazing,
sit
wouldn't it?
in a Spitfire and fly over the White Cliffs of Dover alongside a C-47. Wow.
I feel as though there may be a correlation here between the fact that Armando put this into the show notes and he's possibly been doing some research.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe that's what he's got planned when he's here. Who knows?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
It begs the question how much this is, you know.
Oh no! Don't look it up. Don't do it.
It's gonna be painful.
Do it.
Yeah, I think
No.
so. I know that
It's gonna be painful for all of us.
you can fly out of Goodwood in Sussex, and I think last time I looked, I think it was about £5,000.
Oh,
Oh.
cheap then.
Here we go. The Formation Fighter Experience. Okay, so Spitfire flying alongside that, the C-47 starts from £3,250.
Does it now?
If you want to go and have a go in that Spitfire, which I think, oh my word, I better start saving up.
Yeah. Yeah.
30 minutes, 30 minutes in that Spitfire.
God.
£2,975.
And you know damn well that 30 minutes will be the fastest 30 minutes of your life.
But if you're feeling very flush with the money and you want to experience a whole hour, including flying
To be
over
fair,
the White
wouldn't they
Cliffs
have
of
to?
Dover.
Wouldn't they have? You get several landings for that as well. Wouldn't they have to touch down and refuel for that whole hour?
No, not with the
Oh right.
Spitfire, no. So if you want to do the 55-minute experience with the White Cliffs of Dover, which is the one we all want to do, let's be honest, £5,475.
That would be a life-changing moment.
John's
though,
face.
wouldn't
John's
it?
thinking,
Yeah.
shall I do
It's
that?
not. It's not. Oh no, I'm not. Yeah, I would love to do that. I would like to be sitting in the front seat though, not squished in the back seat.
Yeah.
But
indeed.
that'd be an incredible
That-
experience to take part of.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I could envision a certain member of our team doing this, you know.
Yeah. Do you reckon?
Yeah. I wouldn't put it past him.
I don't know. He does love his history, doesn't he? That's
He does,
the thing.
yeah.
Never
Yeah.
I think the thing that always fascinates me with when you look back at World War II is when you consider that they were sort of taking young lads that were in their sort of early 20s and a lot of the time with zero flying experience, and then they were kind of training them up and then sticking them in these aircraft. And I would be curious, as somebody with relatively limited flying experience, like how intuitive it might be to get in and fly something like this.
I mean,
The program they ran through for training though was very intense. They were starting off in Chipmunks, and then onto the Harvard, and then into one of these. I'm guessing it was a normal pipeline or something. And we did in the States. It was Stearman's, Harvard's, called them 2.6s, and into right into P-51s. So with like 50 hours, 70 hours of training.
Right.
But they were expendable.
Well, and of course there was that, well, not joke, but I mean, several of the flying corps were often referred to as the 20-minuters, weren't they? And not what you were hoping, where the job was done and you were home in time for tea and medals.
I'm just,
it's
Gemma's just come in the studio. I'm just going to ask, can I borrow £5,000 to fly a Spitfire?
Can I have a new diamond ring?
No,
right. Touche.
Right. On that bombshell.
That went well.
Okay.
Good-o, yeah.
I better start saving.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna start to wrap up the show. Matt's got an early start tomorrow, and we've got a long day tomorrow off to Dublin. Now, for those of you who might not know, you should all know, but now me, Matt, Nev, and Matt Clutterbuck as well from the A320 podcast. We're all off to Dublin tomorrow for the drone summit at the RDS Arena in Dublin. Now, we are obviously hoping to meet some of you guys and girls over there in Dublin over the weekend. On Saturday, we're having a little meet up at our hotel, which is the Clayton Manor. Is it Clayton Manor Hotel? Nev's not going to be in the banana while he's there. But hopefully, if any of you listeners are listening to this now and you are over in Dublin in Ireland and you want to come and see and meet up the team, come and see us over there. We'd love to meet all of you guys and girls over there at the RDS Arena or at the Clayton Hotel where we're staying. Be good to see you all there. But we're going to have a quick round robin as to what we're all up to next week. Obviously, you all know what me and Matt are up to this weekend. But Nick, what are you up to next week or this week, next weekend?
Oh, I'm just going to be moping around at home while you guys are all drinking drinks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fair enough. Don't blame me for that. Absolutely.
John's got a co-pilot with him now.
Lovely.
I'll be doing dad things with her and the other two around the house.
Love that.
This is the one. This one's the one who wants to be a pilot. She was chatting with me, saying she said got me in on the flight experience. So
nice.
Yeah,
love that.
Stick with. You've got the best trainer there to teach you how to fly. Definitely.
I don't think Dad should do it. I'm not going to lie. I think they'll fall out. It's a bit like the parents should never teach you to drive. Just saying.
Yeah, Dad will assist in certain aspects, but that's about it. I'll find somebody else to do the training. Maybe I'll get Armando to do it.
Yeah,
Just forget about lining up to drive a car. Miss that bit. Go straight to flying aircraft.
Right. Okay. God, it's lovely in your world, Carlos.
Dad'll pay.
Right, Willie. Right. Okay. Good-o.
Anyway, yeah, we're gonna start to wrap things up quickly now. Then, so Matt can go and hit the hay
yes,
and get himself ready for tomorrow. It'd be lovely to see as many of you as we can. Hopefully, if you are around. At the drone summit on Friday. It's on Friday and Saturday, actually. It's Friday and Saturday this week.
Yeah, love that.
So, look forward to that. So that is it for this week's show. Going to say a massive thank you to John for stepping in tonight as a fantastic co-host. As always, John, great to have you on the show.
No problem. Glad to do it. Really enjoyed it. And always happy to help you out.
Excellent, thank you. And Nick as well for all your work on the notes of show this week, the show notes.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Yeah, we had it's been quite a few good stories this week. So
yeah. And also thanks to the wonderful Matt, who's been in the studio all night pressing the buttons and all the right faders.
I've packed my case, by the way. You'll be delighted to know I am now finally ready.
Excellent. So that's where we're going to bring the show to a close, episode 492 of the show. Have a great weekend, whatever you're all up to. Stay safe, and we will see you all next Wednesday at 7 o'clock with hopefully loads of great news and content on what we've been doing this weekend. So from me, Carlos, here in the home studio, from Matt in the PTUK Master Suite studio, from Nick in his home studio down south, and from John in his home studio. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you all next week. Say goodbye, John.
Bye-bye.